Welcome back to another video from our Saturday tournament, which I participated in. This is the other close, exciting game I had once again, which came down to the last few seconds. My favorite type of game. Just a reminder first, as you know, on Sunday we had a variation. We're going to have a different variation again this coming Sunday. So let me know if that's annoying and you don't want to do different games, or if you do like variations, or if you like a certain variation, let me know. No one's given me any feedback, so I presume it's nice to have a bit of variation sometimes. Let's get down to the game. So this game was with Dimond Dog, who's, as you know, if you've played him, become a very strong player. I'm very proud and impressed. And if anyone gets that kind of level of playing, I'm happy to play you on one-on-one games. So I've played a few with Dimond Dog, and he's beaten me in a few one-on-one, so I knew it's going to be a tough, exciting game. I can't say anyone's name again, but I'm sure you'll get a good idea of who it is if you come to the future inter-school tournaments. So I knew I have to pay attention from the beginning in this one. Any mistakes, and I won't have a chance. I'm opening with my favorite opening for white, the London system. These are the first two moves of the London system usually. And at this level, I think Dimond Dog's improved so much by studying some openings. So here we have a common, popular opening, which is looking like a French defense structure here. You memorize that. And the strength of it is if I take this pawn, I lose my central pawn, and Dimond Dog can happily get his bishop out and take control of the middle. So you don't want to do that if someone has this sort of structure here. So at the beginning, I think we've memorized these openings and we've done them a bunch of times before, so nothing too exciting happens. Until here. This bishop's pretty powerful, as you can see. It's shooting through the middle, and good idea. This is a very good move against the London system, against what I'm doing. Dimond Dog recognizes he wants to swap off and let me have his horse for the bishop. And for this game, actually, just a reminder, if anyone has an exciting game, you can press Analyze here, and the computer will show us if we made any good or bad moves, or it will analyze them all. So if I go through it, look again, all those moves, as I said, it has the book symbol, which means, or the green symbol, which means they're good moves or they're really standard opening moves. So again, if it's another book moves, this is a standard popular opening position. And so is mine. And if you get a green tick, that means here, excellent or brilliant, if it's got an exclamation mark. So that is a really good move because he wants to get rid of my powerful bishop there. And again, a reminder, this bar here shows us who's winning. If it says a plus a number, that means white's winning. Minus means black's winning. If it says +1, that's equal to 1 pawn worth. So the computer evaluates that I'm a little bit up in position at the moment. And here, didn't like that move much. The computer preferred me to go here. So that's a recommendation when you look over your moves. It tells you what the computer would have done. This move was still okay. And Dimond Dog decides to swap. What should I take back with? I could have a knight in the middle or the pawn there, but then the pawns would be doubled up. So I decided to come with the knight, and the computer still thinks again, you keep an eye on this, that white's in a little bit better position. Good idea. Have a check. Why do you think Dimond Dog does this? Just have a double check for all my pieces, and you'll see that I'm attacking the knight with the queen down here. So the knight moves to safety. And now I get a bit daring with a sneaky attack plan. Usually, do we want to bring our queen out early? I hope you know the answer is no. I usually wouldn't bring my queen out, but I've got this horse here, and as we know, this is the weak pawn. If I can get a queen attacking that pawn, it could be pretty nasty. So I decided to bring my queen out. And once we see this position, we know this horse can't move. So now I'm thinking, what would I do to force this knight to move? And a question mark means it's a bit of a mistake. As you can see over here, mistake. And it tells us how many mistakes each person made. And the reason it's a mistake, normally this would be okay to swap, but now I've got this opportunity. Maybe you want to pause the video. How can I make, given that this knight can't move, what can I attack with? Have a careful look. Maybe pause the video. And the tricky thing I can force is a sneaky check. What can I check with? If you haven't seen it yet, it's the bishop. So I've got a check, and it's a more powerful check because now this knight can't move over here to protect. So all black has left to protect with is the bishop and the queen, but I've got two pieces attacking this square. So black could lose the queen, basically, or move the king, which I'm very happy about because that means that black can't castle. So Diamond Dog chooses the best option, moves his king. Very good. And now I swap off pawns, and I'm up 2 points. So I was a bit confident at this point, but Diamond Dog plays a very solid game from here. The queen comes out. The computer thinks that this was a better move to chase the bishop away. And the reason that was, see, the computer sometimes sees some really tricky things that you might not see if you watch your own game. And what I could have done, apparently, according to the computer, is if I'd move my pawn forward now to protect the bishop, it looks crazy. But then, if I press analysis over here, we can see what happens. If I go here and black takes, I can actually get my queen over here, which is pretty dangerous. Look, that goes up to 4 now, because now, what's the only way to get out of check? The king could come back, but is that a good idea? Then I could take this pawn. So black would have to block, and then I could swap queens and bring the king out. But that's getting a bit complicated. But what you can recognize is sometimes it's not obvious why the computer says this is a bad move. But if you look ahead, it's often a complicated reason a few moves ahead. So I didn't see that. That would be pretty sneaky to say that my queen can come over here and threaten the king. So I thought instead, I'm going to retreat, get my bishop safe, and I'm offering this pawn, unfortunately. So look, my score went down now. It's down to 1.5 pawns advantage for white. So good idea. Diamond Dog takes that one, and the score is evening out now. The computer also thinks maybe the king coming back would have been better, so this bishop can get out. It's a bit hard for black to develop when you don't castle. I'm defending my knight in the middle there because I want to castle. And the computer didn't like this move. The computer thinks it was better to bring the pawn out, interestingly. Maybe because if I castle on this side, a pawn storm can be a good idea because the king can no longer castle. So the king could maybe stay here or maybe run over here. I castle. Very good idea, Diamond Dog, to get the bishop out. Now you can still manually, it's called manually castling. If you bring this castle out and then just slowly move your king over to a safe position, but it takes longer. It still can be done. And I decided on a crazy move again here. I know I usually tell everyone that we don't want to open the king, but I have such good control on this side of the board. I wasn't very worried about defending. I just wanted to open these pawns. I was maybe being a bit impatient because I felt like that king isn't castled, it's vulnerable, and I don't want to let him manually castle. So I was doing a bit of a drastic attack. Let's see if it backfires or not. Diamond Dog defends, and it's almost even now, the score. Computer didn't like me opening up my king. And I move my queen over to this side. And the computer didn't like that move. And wasn't exactly sure why. I think I can attack the queen. Sometimes the computer will tell you it's a bad move, and it's hard to see why because it's so many moves ahead that it's really hard to analyze. So again, I was being a bit, look here at my score, 1.2. I move this one out, and now the computer says it's exactly even. So the computer's usually right. It can see so many moves ahead that long term, this probably wasn't the best move. I shouldn't open my king, but it looks pretty safe around here. So I was being a bit greedy and impatient, and I thought I should be able to get to that black king. The computer doesn't like this move. It's got me having an advantage again. Not sure why. Now, would I want to swap? I'm not any pieces up. I've only got a better position. Diamond Dog got the pawn, so I don't usually want to swap. But I'd like to get some pieces out of the way from around the king. So this time I decide to swap. Again, maybe I was being impatient. Let's see what the computer says. I was winning by 1.8, and the computer now says black's in a better position. And I would prefer to take with the bishop. I agree with the computer here because then Diamond Dog could get the bishop out. But Diamond Dog thinks the king might be a bit safer here, and the computer doesn't think so. So I'm trying to break through the middle now. We really want to get these pawns out of the way, and this king could be vulnerable. And the computer thinks I've got a big advantage now. The computer would have preferred to do the green arrow always, which is to take my pawn. I swap pawns. I'm desperate to get to that king. This symbol means it's an okay move, but it's not great. I probably should have pushed the pawn, apparently, and that would have been pretty sneaky. But I wanted to get through these pawns. I was a bit greedy. I wanted to get to the king. And the king comes out. The king's in the middle. The computer doesn't like that. And I'm chasing the queen away here. Queen runs back. What would you do next? Can anyone say a check? Quiz yourself. How would I check the king? If I was being impatient, I would use the castle to come up, and that's what the computer actually likes. Now, I decided to do something else at the time. I thought, this knight can't go anywhere useful here. I might bring it over here for a check. I wanted more pieces near the king, but the computer prefers the green arrow, which would have been check here. And now the computer thinks I'm in a great position. Not sure what I could have done with my great position. What would you do now? How would you continue the attack? I can see a few different checks. Maybe quiz yourself, see how many different check options you can get. I like bringing the knight in. And I was maybe being a bit impatient still because we can't really trap the king. A check looks good. And where would you move the king now? If you were black, you've got two options. You could block the bishop or keep the king in the middle. Diamond Dog decides on the middle. The bishop is free. Another check. I'm being impatient and greedy here. I could have come with a castle. We want as many pieces as possible to come in, really, when we're trying to corner the king. Another check. Where would you move the king? Diamond Dog comes over, and it looks like I can get to the king, but is there any more checks, really? I can't see any. So instead, I'm trying to line up this queen. The computer preferred putting pressure on this pawn. If I'd pressured this pawn, I probably could have got to the king. So I'm lining up the black queen. Black queen moves over, offering a swap again. Should I take the swap? I'm in a better position with less pieces. The answer is no. So I move over, and again, the computer thinks that this pawn should have been pressured instead. Attacking my knight, chasing it away. That's not a very good move because the knight is a bit trapped there. It can't go anywhere very useful. So we don't want a knight on the edge. I've taught a lot of you in class. We don't want a knight on the edge. We want them near the middle. Diamond Dog chases me. Now I can move my knight, and I should have gone here. We don't want to retreat. I should have stayed near the king. Bit of a mistake. Bishop develops. I'm trying to get to the king again desperately. I should have done it another way with the knight. Diamond Dog takes, and I sacrifice here. And if you saw this happen against a good player, you should be very suspicious. Do you think I just made a mistake and lost my knight? Maybe. Can happen, but it might not be the case. And now, if we look at the clocks on this game, we can't see the clocks at the moment, but we were down to about, because we're in analyze, we were down to about 1 minute. So it's getting pretty close. So Diamond Dog had to do a quick move. What will happen here? Are you allowed to take the knight, or is that not allowed? What's this knight pawn? Sorry, what's this pawn doing? That's important. It's actually pinned down. So you can't take that. It was not a mistake. So black has to move something else, and he offers a swap, trying to get out of trouble here. And here's the sneaky move. We do want to look at where this horse could have gone next. We didn't have much time now, so it's hard not to make a mistake, but there's a sneaky plan coming up. I really want to get this horse out of the way. Why? When you see a king and a queen lined up, what am I trying to do on this back line? I'd love to line them up to get the queen. So I really want to get the knight out of the way, and I can check straight away what's coming next. It's check, so you have to get out of check. How should you get out of check if you're black now? You could take and have a swap. That's what I was hoping for, but then there could be trouble. So what I would do if I was white is move here, but there's not much time. It has to be a very quick move. I move over for a check. King has to move, and lucky I get the queen, but Diamond Dog gets the castle back, and I'll swap off now because I'm a little bit up on pieces, but the score is still pretty close for pieces. I get a pawn, I get threatened and run back. Queen comes over, and we're doing really quick moves now. Check. Pause the video. Can you see the checkmate? There it is. Really good game, Dimond Dog. Nice work. Very exciting. We were down to about 30 seconds at the end.